Mhm.
Hi, and welcome to another episode where we throw a spotlight on something happening in leadership around this beautiful country that we live. And today I'm joined by a colleague, someone who is no doubt not unfamiliar to many who work with me, and that's Michelle Crawford. G'day, Mish.
G'day, how are you, AJ?
Yeah, good. So Michelle and I are part of a collaborative organisation called Thrive Stars. And today I wanted to bring Michelle on to talk a bit about an event that we've got coming up and why it is that we're doing this and why indeed we even care about thriving communities and thriving organisations. So Michelle, maybe start by just giving a little overview of what is Thrive Stars firstly.
Yeah, sure. So Thrive Stars is a group of 12 owners who have come together from very diverse and eclectic backgrounds because they are passionate about individuals, teams, organizations, and the nation thriving. So everyone has a different perspective that they come from in relation to that. We are measuring organizational prosperity across businesses, and we measure 5 pillars: culture, inclusion, well-being, productivity, and sustainability.
Yeah, and so of these 5 pillars, we're running a lunch series essentially over the next year or so where we dive deeper into each of those pillars. And we've got our first event coming up in July, on July 18, and that's focused all on well-being. So why do you think we're doing this event? Like, why is it important? Why should people even think about coming?
I think, if you start at the biggest possible picture, thriving is in essence supported by well-being, as in you can't have poor well-being and be thriving. So it's a non-debatable element in relation to thriving. So doing a deep dive into this pillar, and incidentally, this being the second event that we've run with the Thrive Stars pillars, makes a lot of sense because it's about acknowledging that in order for all of us to thrive, we all have to walk together in that journey.
Mm. Mm. And so, as part of walking together, we're literally creating that by partnering with another organisation, a not for profit called Yakuway Indigenous Corporation. And Yakuway, I'm privileged to be a member of the board on Yakuway as a not for profit. And Yakuway's mission is all around taking care or helping Indigenous people, population actually take their own health and well-being into their own hands. So they start to have capacity and be empowered and have tools to actually improve their own well-being and their family and communities. And so we've come together, Yakuway and Thrive Stars, and I think their missions kind of really complement each other, don't they, Michelle?
Yeah, they do. And again, you can't, I think one of the things that is breaking society up and making things difficult and causing people not to thrive is fragmentation and looking at things from all different perspectives instead of genuinely looking at the commonness of who we are as humans and the challenges that we have to navigate together. I think it's fine to, identify in a range of different ways and have that uniqueness. That's important. However, when it comes to something like well-being, it's impossible to navigate that terrain if everyone is pulled apart and looking in different directions. So I think the power of, partnering with Yakuway is that it really does bring those two elements of society together to genuinely have this big picture look at the collective about what's working, what's not working, what do we need to do collaboratively in order to create a thriving region or nation. And that's quite unique.
100%. And I think I know Yuckaway's mission is all around, it was originally just helping elders in the community thrive and live longer, healthier, happier lives. And now they're really moving into mental health and men's mental health. And they're doing school programs and helping children actually get connected with themselves and country and with each other. And we have a big vision around Thrive as well, and around gross national prosperity. Do you want to share a little bit more about our big, bold vision of how we see
Yeah,
Australia?
sure. So basically, the most common macroeconomic indicator that a nation uses to determine if they're successful or not is GDP. And there's a lot of critique and a lot of writing, especially from like economic ecologists and sustainability people and people like that, that GDP is just a fundamentally blunt instrument and it's not holistic enough. And it's really not an adequate measure to determine whether or not a country is prosperous. So, our proposition is for Australia and other countries to consider using a macroeconomic indicator called gross national prosperity. Now, in order to be able to do that, obviously you need to get the data somewhere. So, our vision is to be able to access the data at the organizational level about how businesses are being prosperous, and data to be aggregated up into national level data for the growth.
Yeah, and sorry, you just broke up a little bit there, but I think we've got the whole gist of it. And what we're seeing is here in Australia is following in New Zealand's footsteps, as well as some other Scandinavian countries, where we have a government who measures GDP, but is starting to measure well-being as well. And what we're saying is it needs to be even broader than that. It needs to cover areas like we're suggesting in our 5 pillars of inclusion and sustainability as well. And that when we create that kind of community, when we create those cultures in organizations, when individuals feel empowered to do that, we can completely transform a whole country. And I've always said, I believe that business and organizations are the key to solving some of the biggest problems and challenges we face in the world. And that's part of what we're looking at from Thrive, aren't we?
Yeah, and I think, businesses have a big challenge though, AJ. It's fair to say that businesses have a big challenge around their own capability and leadership and their own organizational cultures, and fundamentally understanding that, the fabric of collaboration produces a much more tangible and enhanced impact than just using a profit measure as a blunt way. So there's a lot of change that needs to happen across the community. And as much as our political leaders and our religious leaders and other leaders are taking action toward that change, I think it's important for the community to be able to come together in a way where you don't have to identify with any of those other groups, but you're fundamentally just saying, because we are human, we believe this is the right thing to do in our society, regardless of who we vote for or whether we go to church on the weekend.
Absolutely. 100%. Couldn't
And
agree
that's
more.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so thinking of the actual event and why should people even join us in July 18, it's at Souths at Merewether, so in the Newcastle region. And we're looking at having about 120, 130 people in the room all around this topic of well-being, but from a thriving perspective. So we're really focused on, I guess, a strengths-based approach and not looking at just what's wrong or broken, but actually going, what's right? What resources do we have? And really tackling it from an appreciative inquiry. How do we generate and create an even more thriving, prosperous community, organizations, individuals? What kind of things are we going to focus on in the agenda? What's the flavor of the event for people who are curious?
So there's going to be a layered approach to the conversation and the engagement from presenters. And we're kicking off with a national perspective on wellbeing from the team at Measuring What Matters at Federal Treasury. And they're going to be sharing the lay of the land across the nation, what's going on across Australia in terms of a wellbeing framework. Then we're coming down to the regional level, and the team from Hunter Primary Care are going to be sharing with us a similar perspective, but at a regional level. So if you're looking across the Hunter region, what is happening, what's working, what's not working, what are our challenges. Then we're going down to the next level of detail, which is around organizations. So we've got Trent Watson from Ethos Health, who specializes in working in wellbeing in organizations, is going to share the work that they do and the issues that they see at an organizational level. And then we have an Indigenous speaker who is going to be speaking. I think this speaker is the most important because they're really connecting the individual back to the national and everything together. So I'm super excited to see and to be part of that conversation and the wisdom that each of those people are going to bring from their own different perspectives, and not just what we can learn, but I'm interested in what action results off the back of that event. I'm not a chalk and talk, stand in a workshop in front of a guru kind of a person. I'm okay, we've got that, what are we going to do about it type of a person. So I'm interested in the action that it generates by bringing a room of otherwise disconnected people together, to focus on genuine community thriving.
Absolutely. And at the event, we will be launching a workshop that'll be available to go into corporates, which is all about walking together for wellbeing. It will really be focused on not just kind of cultural competency, but where everyone comes from in a really creative way. So where are your roots? Where do you come from? What's your lineage? And then also, how do you bring your whole self to work? What are some of the symbols? What are some of the communication styles? What are some of the rituals or experiences you have as an individual? And how do you bring your full self to work? So really about psychosocial safety from a completely different level, I think, because when everyone feels accepted and welcome in their workplace, then we truly start to have well-being. We can start to have thriving workplaces where people get to be their best self and bring that. And in that way, they get to contribute, and then the organization contributes to community, and we start to build those sacred bonds that really tie a whole nation together. So we are super excited.
And I think if I can just add to that, we can use all this highfalutin organization words that are, lovely but meaningless. And I think at the end of the day, every human on the planet just wants to feel like they matter. They just want to feel like they're seen, and they want to feel like they're heard, and that they can contribute to their life and the life of other people. It's all about mattering.
Yeah. And just like the measure what matters, we're really keen at Thrive Stars to create a space where people actually have conversations around each individual getting to contribute and feel valued and feel whole and bring their whole self to work. And we spend so much time at work. Let's make it somewhere where we can genuinely contribute and where we feel like our roots are planted in. So we're excited. We will share under this talk a link to purchase a ticket. We would love you to join us. We will have politicians, businesses, government agencies, community and elders all in the room together. We have an amazing welcome to country planned from some amazing local elders. We really want people to come and feel welcome, feel heard, feel seen, and feel part of a new movement and a new way forward. So thanks for sharing your insights today, Michelle.
My pleasure, and super excited to see anyone there who would like to contribute to that conversation in a proactive way. We'd love to see you there.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.